Are you ready to take your business to the next level and make the money you want so that you can create the impact you desire? Then you're in the right place. It's possible to run a successful business built around your life. Get ready for a little bit of tough love and a whole lot of strategy to grow your business without sacrificing your sanity. If you're ready to get out of your own way and step into the role of CEO, then let's go. I'm Amy Traugh, and this is the Motivated CEO Podcast. Welcome back into the Motivated CEO Podcast. I am so excited for today's guest, LaChelle. We are talking all about adopting a mindset of gratitude. As entrepreneurs, it's so easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of everyday life. So today's conversation is going to be incredible. But before we dive in, I would love to introduce you to today's guest. LaChelle, welcome into the podcast.
Thank you, Amy. I'm so excited for our conversation. We have so much in common that I just am so honored and grateful that I get a chance to spend some time with you and with your audience today.
Yes. But before we dive in, tell us all about yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Oh, I love that. So yes, I am a former nurse anesthetist turned entrepreneur. So I left my full-time 20-year anesthesia career a year and a half ago to pursue my dreams, my calling. And it's been a wild ride. Amy, you and I were just talking before we hit record that, you know, when I left my 20-year career to step into this beautiful life that I have, I never ever in a million years thought that it would have taken me where it has taken me, you know, and the fact that I've been on stages that I never thought I would be on. I've been, wrote my book in just a couple of days. It's been a wild, wild ride, but I am so grateful that God has allowed me to help really driven impact, inspired women to find some strength in their strategies, to be able to make some decisions that have been hard, to be able to build the confidence to believe in themselves and to follow through on those bold moves that they know they need to do. And it sounds like you have an audience that can definitely relate to all of that. So I'm really excited to serve everybody today.
Yes. Oh, I love it. It's hard as an entrepreneur to make those decisions, especially when you do come from a career like you did. I also come from a healthcare background, and making that decision that I knew that career was no longer aligned with me, that was hard.
Yeah, totally.
That was really hard. But something you said too is that we keep ourselves safe. We try and stay safe. And I feel like looking back at the journey, I'm like, wow, there were signs a lot longer than I even was aware of, that things were just out of line. So I really appreciate you sharing that, because I feel like it gives hope to those listening in, like, oh my gosh, I'm going through that right now. So we're here on the other side to share with you that, hey, it's okay. That messy middle is hard. But once you give yourself that permission to make a decision, it's so wild.
And, the thing is that, kind of tying this back to gratitude, I think that sometimes people feel like they have to hate where they are in order to feel courageous enough to do something about it. Yeah. And honestly, that's not where I came from. I loved my job. It found that I was being called for more. Like there was something inside of me that just knew that this wasn't it. Even though I loved my job, I loved what I did, I loved my colleagues. And so sometimes we can get stuck into this feeling like we have to be discontented or miserable or angry with our current situation in order to move us to the next step, move us to the next level. And it doesn't have to be that way. This is your journey. You get to decide, hey, I'm in gratitude for what I have right now, and I'm excited for where I'm going. Right?
Yeah, exactly. Because so many of us, we wrestle with this guilt around that exact feeling, because it's like, well, I know I'm meant for more, but who am I? I have my dream job. I have everything that I worked so hard for, and I'm content.
Right.
So how did you work through that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, I think that's the thing, right? Like I was a breadwinner of my family. I'm married to an amazing fifth grade teacher. So teachers do not get paid well enough. So I was definitely the breadwinner. My kids and my husband and I have a lifestyle that we're used to. And then for me to take that big risk was scary. It was hard. And I definitely found myself into stages of imposter syndrome or wondering what the heck I'm thinking, or maybe it's just I'm going through something that I just need to get over, right? But that little nudge never went away. And I think that it's really just allowing ourselves to explore it, allowing ourselves to say this and to create the and life. And so what I was able to do was start to incorporate different ways that made me feel challenged and fulfilled alongside of my current position. And then it was kind of like, oh my gosh, like this is lighting me up. This is where I want to be. And I allowed those breadcrumbs to lead me to where I was supposed to be. And I mean, gosh, it definitely was hard, but I am grateful for every single step of the way. I'm grateful for the experience that I had. I mean, who would have ever thought that my experience as a professor would have led me to a place where I create courses all the time because that's what I'm gifted in, right? Who would have ever thought that speaking for anesthesia seminars for years would lead me to stages where I get to speak on things that I'm super passionate about? So all of these things that have been sprinkled into your life up to this point are all beautiful clues. How can you utilize the gifts that you've been given? How can you utilize your experiences? How can you utilize the things that you've overcome? Because that might be very well the thing that is going to help you propel yourself into who you are supposed to be in order to help other people on that journey. And so I'm grateful for every single step of the way.
Yeah. And you've done that through gratitude. And this is something that takes practice. I think there's a lot of misconceptions
Right.
surrounding gratitude, right?
Yeah.
That
Mhm.
people think, oh, I just have to be walking around delusional all day long.
Oh,
No,
well,
not
yeah.
at all. So I would love for you to unpack a little bit
Yeah.
as to like, okay, to really cultivate a mindset of gratitude. How do we go about doing that when we are facing these feelings like, okay, well, it's good enough. I think I should just
Yeah.
settle, right?
Yeah. Totally, totally. And I want to just gonna say something really quickly that fine, Fine, is my least favorite four-letter F word. Okay.
Yes, I love
And
that.
so I think that so often we allow ourselves to be okay with fine when God has something even bigger and better in store for us, right? So don't get stuck into the fine. Like that's what I want to tell you first and foremost. But again, it doesn't have to feel like I have to be discontented and like how could I put this? Like you don't have to be miserable in order to act. You can be in gratitude and to act. This is the and life. God really led me down this place where I recognize that I can feel challenged and fulfilled and spend more time with my family. Like it can be beyond the fine, right? And I think that, speaking of my family, I think that one of the greatest lessons that I learned was from a book called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor. And in this book, he talked about Viktor Frankl, who is the author of the Man's Search for Meaning. Amazing book. If you haven't read it, please, I would recommend it. But in this book, Sean talked about Viktor in the sense that he was a concentration camp survivor who had been stripped of everything. He had stripped of his health, his family, all of his possessions. And he was standing there naked in this Nazi concentration camp. And one of the guards noticed that he had a wedding ring on and he forced him to hand it over. And Viktor said in this moment, he got to choose his attitude. Like he can take everything from me. He can take my family, my health, everything from me, but he can't take my attitude. And happiness and gratitude is a choice. I believe that we've all been given a beautiful superpower of free will, and that free will allows us to choose. So I can either choose to allow my circumstances to be overpowering me, or I get to choose to be in gratitude. And one of the things that Sean said in this book was that you can't be anxious and grateful at the same time. So whenever my kids and I and my husband are at the dinner table, if they have been struggling with something, I'm like, all right, I'm going to challenge you to think about 3 things that you're grateful for right now. And it's amazing how much that one little exercise can shift our focus. And one of the things that I teach a lot, my program is called Spiral Up. And the whole premise is that I want to keep my clients in massive forward momentum. It's success in motion, right? And it's really easy for us to spiral down. We don't get a sale. We aren't getting the following we wanted. We didn't meet a goal. We feel stuck in confusion and doubt, and we spiral down. You guys, you get to choose your thoughts. You get to choose how you are going to to allow yourself to go into forward momentum versus allowing yourself to get sucked down into that spiral of being a victim to your circumstances. And so I love the fact that gratitude allows us to shift the way that we're thinking. Our thoughts create our feelings create our actions, and our action creates our results, right? And so if you're not happy with your results, then you have to back it up into what have my actions been? What have my feelings been? And how have I been thinking? And I swear to God, like every single time that I shift my thoughts into gratitude, it brings me to a feeling that is more positive, that's more empowering, and therefore my actions and my results follow suit.
Oh, yes, right there. All of that. Because this is backed by science.
Mhm.
This isn't just woo.
Right.
No, this is scientifically proven. Because at the end of the day, our brains are hardwired for negativity. It's survival. And when we realize that we can control the thoughts going on in our minds, if we're aware of them, it makes it easier. I love that you do that practice with your kids. We do something
Yeah.
similar every night before bed. Tell me 3 things you're grateful for. Because our brains, we default to, okay, this is everything bad that happened to me
Oh,
today.
totally. Yep.
That we
Yep.
forget. It's that negativity bias, right? I love that book. Sean's book. It's literally like on my
Yeah.
bookshelf behind me. It's
Yep.
amazing. One of my favorite books. And I reread it all the time because it's powerful
Mhm.
how we
Yes.
get to choose.
Mhm.
And like you said, free will, that's giving us the ability to choose. But so
Mhm.
many of us, we're afraid. We're afraid to make the choice that could make a change because that's scary. That's uncomfortable. That comes with a fear of failure, judgment, even fear of success holds
Oh,
so
totally.
many entrepreneurs back.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear your
Yes.
perspective on that.
Yes, all of the things, right?
Yes.
Like we definitely can get sucked into to
Right.
all of those fears and including success. I mean, I remember a mindset block that I had was I was afraid that being successful meant being alone at the top. And I was afraid that I would have to choose my calling against like all the people that meant the world to me, right?
Yeah.
And I found myself growing and actually having some friendships kind of be pruned out of my life. And it was like, oh gosh, like here's my worst case scenario coming true. But then I allowed for the gratitude of new relationships that have come in that were this or something better. And so I think that all of the things that we face are absolutely normal. All of us, Amy and I both have had lots of setbacks, lots of fears. Don't ever let somebody tell you that they're not afraid. My goal is not to be fear free, but fearless. I want to be fearing less. I want to be able to face it and reach forward. And I think that one of the things that I find with my clients is they bring a lot of buts to the table. All right. So let me tell you what this means. Buts in my acronym are beliefs underestimating truth. Okay, beliefs underestimating truth. So if I fear that being successful means that I am going to lose all of my friends, my husband, everybody that I care about, then I am going to have to ask myself, is that true? Is there evidence in the world that is contradictory to that truth? And the answer is yes. There are plenty of people who are successful, who have a strong family life, who have lots of friends, who feel like they're surrounded by really great people. So maybe that's not truth. So then my belief is underestimating that truth. My belief, my own fears, my own worries about being rejected, my own fears about being alone are underestimating what's actually true. And so the moment that I decide that I'm not going to submit to my butt and I'm going to allow for myself to accept truth, I'm able to start to shift the way that I'm thinking in order to feel a more empowered thought and feeling, right? Versus something that feels like I'm subject to something else. So,
Yes. Yes. And that right there is such a powerful exercise because we all have those fears that are running rampant in our brains. Like you
mhm,
said, we've both had them. I
yeah,
mean, when we're recording this, I am literally 2 weeks away from my first book being launched into the world. It's terrifying. And I know
it's,
you've been there before, LaChelle. It's like terrifying because it's like, oh my gosh, is everybody going to hate it? is anybody going to buy it? Like, okay, I'm really proud of myself, but there's still that piece of you that it's new, it's unknown. But
Yeah.
like you said, question it,
Mhm.
question those buts, because yes, fear is there. Let's acknowledge it, question it, and move through it. Like, okay, this is purely like, this is not a real threat.
Yeah.
Worst case is not that bad.
Right.
I can
Right.
wallow for a day, I can wallow for an hour, but you know
Mhm.
what? If I can make an impact for one
Yeah.
person, is it worth being
Yeah.
understood by another person that the book wasn't even meant for? Okay, no problem. Like
Right.
when we get through that, like I can choose to be so massively grateful
Mhm.
for
Yeah.
those who gave me
Right.
positive feedback.
Right.
So it's a
Yeah.
choice. It all comes back to what you said. It's a
100%.
choice.
It's a choice. That's where our superpower lies. And one of the things that I love to geek out on, Amy, is I incorporate this really cool combination of scripture, quantum physics, and brain science into everything that I do, because
Love
I
it.
help people get faster results, right? And we do that with the quantum physics part of it. So if you don't mind, I'm going to bring that
Yeah.
into this whole gratitude thought, because I think that it's going to give people some hope. And honestly, like, here's the deal. If you hear anything from me, it doesn't have to be freaking hard.
Yes.
You guys, what if I'm like, I use this all the time with my clients. Like, here's an easy button. Like, what if it was easy? And I think that we overcomplicate the crap out of things all the time. And it's like, let's just take a moment and just think, what if it doesn't have to be so dang hard? All right. So, one of the things that I love to talk about is something called the emotional vibrational scale. Have you heard of that, Amy?
I have, yes.
Okay, cool. And so, what that does, scientists, including scientists from MIT, have been able to measure the frequency or the speed in which the electrons inside of our body vibrate when we're feeling certain emotions. Okay. So when I'm feeling emotions of love, joy, gratitude, freedom, my electrons are literally spinning like crazy fast, and they measure that with frequency. So it's a higher frequency. When I am thinking feelings of sadness, despair, hopelessness, my vibration is much lower. The frequency is much lower. And what is so fascinating is that gratitude is the one thing that can shoot us from the bottom of that scale to the top of that scale. Now, why does that matter? Your dream life, your dream clients, your dream experiences, all is aligned with the frequency of that higher vibration. So if you can take yourself into back in the day when Amy and I, when we used to listen to the top 40 with Casey Kasem, remember that? Yeah.
Oh,
Casey
absolutely.
Kasem is, in the studio in LA or wherever, and I'm listening to his radio station from my tiny little town in Minnesota, right? Why? Because I was tuned into the frequency of his station. So the life that I want, the ideas, the clients, the freedom that I want is in alignment with the frequency of those things. And if I can raise my frequency, the way that my body is vibrating, to be in alignment with that broadcast, I am more likely to think those thoughts, to meet those people, to have those experiences. And so I'm going to give you an example of that. When I was really contemplating, like, what is my next step, right? I left my job and I really wanted to like go gangbusters. And then I kind of stalled a little bit. It's like, oh my gosh, like, what is my one thing? Like, what is the thing that sets me apart than everybody else? And I was so frustrated and overwhelmed with the thought of it, and couldn't come up with it. And I kept analyzing the problem. And if you're watching this on video, you can see that my hand is down at the bottom of the screen. And I was literally just analyzing the crap out of it from every single angle I could. And I was praying for some clarity around this, but I was analyzing it so much that I was just re-engaging in the frequency of that problem. Meanwhile, just like Amy's book, just like my book, the front and the back of this book both coexist at the same time. So just because I'm looking at the front doesn't mean that the back doesn't exist, right? And so meanwhile, while I'm down here, praying about this and analyzing the heck out of this problem, the solution exists. I just wasn't in alignment with the solution. And I go on this dream vacation with my family last summer. We traveled through all these different states, drove out to Utah, went to all these national parks. It was literally the trip of a lifetime. I saw the most beautiful place on the planet with the people I love the most in the world. And guess what happened? I was in the frequency of the solution, and out of nowhere popped into my head, my signature program, Spiral Up. Out of nowhere. It is the exact same thing that I've been praying for, the clarity around it, and it just popped into my head. And I thought to myself, why didn't I think about this before? And I've had people who have had multi-million-dollar businesses say to me, how did you come up with that? Like, that's genius. And it's like, I literally was just in the frequency of that. And so if you can allow yourself to stay in the frequency of love and joy and peace and gratitude and freedom, the things, the people, the ideas are going to naturally find you. And it doesn't have to be the struggle. And when I think about that, it's like, you have to just trust this. You have to know it, that is on its way to you. And you take inspired action as if you just are ready for it. Like, well, of course it's coming. And you take inspired action. And when you take inspired action with an understanding and a knowing, with expectation, thanksgiving that it's on its way to you, it will appear in your life. And your brain, the way our brain works, is your brain will start to think in that way and start to find things in your outside world that match your inside world. Guys, it doesn't have to be hard.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be hard, because think about those people that you're just naturally attracted to. We say that they're high vibe, right? We hear all this, oh, she's got such a great vibe. It's because they're at that higher frequency. It's that simple. And gratitude is a shortcut to get us from point A to point B.
100%. And when I look at the emotional vibrational scale, you can really cut it in half. From neutral up are all very empowered feelings. If you look at the neutral and below, those are disempowered feelings. Those are where we feel like something outside of ourselves has the control, right? We're subject to something else. The moment that you can get yourself to neutral and above, and you feel more empowered, you will literally start shifting the way that your body is vibrating. And the most efficient, fastest way for you to shift yourself from disempowered to empowered is with gratitude.
Yes.
And I want to take it a step further, Amy, and say that when I talk about gratitude too, this is kind of something that I feel can help with just taking this like a step further, like good, better, best, right?
Mm-hmm.
So being in gratitude and having gratitude are two different things. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And so when I think about, like, I'm just a sucker for like stupid movies that you don't have to think sometimes, and they just like have fun liners. And so one of my favorite movies is Anchorman. Like, totally, like, not at all, all of
I love it.
nonfiction, but I love that stupid movie. And there's a scene in that movie where, Will Ferrell and his buddies are sitting around talking about what it's like to be in love. And when they ask, like, hey, Ron, what's it like to be in love? And he starts going into a song like Sky Rockets in Flight. Like, they just all start like singing a cappella, right? And then there's one guy in the scene, his name is Brick, and he is just like kind of slow to the punch a little bit. And Brick's like, I love Lamp. I love Lamp. And they're like, Brick, are you just saying you love Lamp because you see a lamp? I love Lamp. And it's kind of like that. Like, I can say, like, I'm grateful for Amy. I'm grateful for my water. I'm grateful for the sunshine. But there's a difference between like calling things out and being in gratitude, being in love, where you just like want to burst into song, right? It's the space of like just feeling the essence of gratitude, just feeling this satisfied peace and joy and love, and knowing that everything is exactly the way it's supposed to be right now, and you're excited for what's to come. And it's just almost like this emotional state of being, don't you think?
Oh, yeah.
That will take you to this next level. So start out by saying, like, I love, water, but take it a step further and being in gratitude for it. Feel it, taste it, smell it, touch it, embody it, because those feelings are what are going to activate another quantum space and field that is going to help you to get to where you want to go faster. So
yes, because so often we hear about having a gratitude practice. Mm-hmm. It's a practice. You're conjuring up those feelings. Like you said, I think a lot of people do Oh, I'm thankful for water. I'm thankful for sunshine. All of these
Yes,
things, which is
yes.
great. That's great to start
Yeah.
with. But
Yep.
then we have to really cultivate, well, why? How does that sunshine
Yes.
feel on your
Yes.
skin? Like for me, like
Yes.
I'll take myself back to an awesome family vacation where I was sitting on the beach, my kids are playing in the sand. Like that's what really conjures up those awesome feelings. That's what raises your
Yes.
vibration.
100%.
Yes.
And okay, so I'm gonna be a real mom for a second. So there
Mhm.
might be listeners that are like, oh my God, I love spending every single weekend at my daughter's fifth grade basketball tournament. It is the highlight of my life. That is not me. I am not that mom. I
Same.
go because I love her and
Yeah.
I go because I want to support her, but I can think of a million other things I'd rather do. Let's just be real. Okay. So good for you if you're the other mom.
Yep. Not
But so
me.
I'm at this tournament like a couple weeks ago, right? And I'm like, okay, so she wins and they were having to stay for another game versus getting to go home and like I'm peace out, right? So like
Yeah.
a good mom would have been like, I hope they win. And then there's me that's like, oh, we hope we can get home.
I feel
Um,
seen.
but I was like, okay, what in this moment can I take from this? It's like, okay, number one, I love the fact that I get to spend time with my family. I love the fact that I am in a space where I get to go to her tournaments. I'm not at work, right? So it's like, even if you're in a situation that you don't want to be, where can you find the gratitude in that? So, like, I want to cultivate more freedom to be able to say yes to what I want to do. I want to cultivate more time with my family. I want to cultivate more ways that I get to cheer my daughter on. You know what I'm saying? And so it's in that gratitude, it's finding the things that you're grateful for in the midst of where you're at that
Yes.
will help you to attract more of those things that you're grateful for. So I know that more experiences with me spending time with my family, more experiences of me having the freedom to go, more experiences of me getting to cheer her on are on its way to me because I take the time to find that gratitude in the situation.
Yes. You're taking the time to cultivate those feelings. It's all about cultivating. It's just like when we plant something in the ground, we have to cultivate. We have to cultivate in order to grow. Ah,
Yes. Yes.
LaChelle, this was amazing. I could talk to you all day long. How can listeners get into your world and learn all about you?
Oh my gosh, I would absolutely love to get to know any one of you guys. I keep myself very simple. I brand myself with my name with everything. So you can find me at LaChelleWieme.com on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, and LaChelleWieme.com is my website. Come on over, watch the Spiral Up podcast if you want a little bit more about this geeky brain science, quantum physics, and scripture angle to things. And I just want to encourage all of you guys to remember that you have all been given this beautiful superpower of choice. Every single moment of every single day, you get to choose, and your thoughts create things, and your things are the experiences that you get to live. And I want to just encourage you guys all to take that superpower and run with it because you've got it, and you've got a great mentor here with Amy. So thanks to everybody.
Yes, and until next time, cheers to making the money you want so you can make the impact you desire. Are you loving what you're hearing? Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss an episode.